what to do if your loved one should have the tracheostomy out or not. Stay tuned. I will answer that question for you today. My name is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com, and I have another quick tip for families in intensive care. So currently we are working with a client in the UK who has their father in ICU, and the ICU team wants to take out the tracheostomy tube. He's been weaned off the ventilator now, and they want to send him out of ICU as quickly as possible. He's been weaned off the ventilator for about a couple of weeks, but he's still having the tracheostomy cuff up and down at times because they don't think he's safe to manage his secretions and manage swallowing. So the intensive care team is pushing to take the tracheostomy tube out, but obviously the family that we're working with reached out and said, do you really think he's ready if they're still putting the cuff up and down at times? And I said, no, he wouldn't be ready, because if they're putting the cuff up, then that means he's not able to swallow his secretions. So things that need to happen for someone to have the tracheostomy tube removed is, and I've discussed that in other videos as well, but in a nutshell, patient needs to be awake, obeying commands, following instructions, be able to swallow, be able to cough to the point where they can cough up their own secretions. The tracheostomy should be capped so that a patient is forced to breathe through the nose and the mouth, and there should be minimal secretions as well. And once those boxes are ticked, then a tracheostomy can be removed. Ideally, the patient is also off oxygen, right? So those are the boxes that need to be ticked. In this situation, even that the cuff is not down all the time, it's a risk. Also, the patient is still on inotropes and vasopressors, i.e. is still hemodynamically unstable, making it more likely for him to deteriorate, and the risk is fairly high. Now, there's another thing on top of, I'm all for removing tracheostomies as quickly as possible, if you can. But the other issue here is that they are telling the family, well, we're taking out the tracheostomy, but if he needs it back in, we won't put it back in, right? Well, that in my book is not doing what's in the best interest of a patient, right, which is to live. And furthermore, the patient is awake and can communicate. So why not ask the patient what he wants rather than telling the family we won't put it in? I mean, the NHS is broken as it is, and that just further underlines how broken the NHS in the UK is in terms of, that they're not doing what's in the best interest for patients and families, and they're putting it in this euphemistic light of, well, it's quote unquote in the best interest for your father not to live anyway because he's only suffering. Well, clearly the client says, my dad is awake and he wants to live, right? It's unbelievable, the judgment that's coming from some intensive care teams in terms of what their perception is about who should live and who should die. It's not up to them. Their job is to help people and help people what they perceive is in their best interest, not what's in the intensive care team's best interest, which is to free up beds and free up staff so they can look after the next critically ill patient, because an ICU bed is the most and highly sought after bed in a hospital. So I hope that clarifies today. And what I advise the family is to get it in writing from the intensive care team that, if they think it's valid to take out the tracheostomy tube and it fails, well, let's put it back in and let's give it another go at another time. Let's keep mobilizing this gentleman if he can, not while he's on inotropes, but let's treat the infection that he's got now. Let's get him off the inotropes and then start all over again. It's recovery in intensive care can take time. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and I've made countless videos about that over the years, that it's a marathon, not a sprint. I worked in critical care for nearly 25 years in 3 different countries, where I worked as a nurse manager in ICU for over 5 years. We've been consulting and advocating here at intensivecarehotline.com since 2013. And we have saved many lives with our consulting and advocacy, and you can verify that on our testimonial section. And you can also verify that on our podcast section, where we've done some client interviews. And because we get so many questions and we want to help as many families in intensive care as possible, that's why we created a membership for families of critically ill patients in intensive care. And you can become a member if you go to intensivecarehotline.com and you click on the membership link, or you go to intensivecaresupport.org directly. In the membership, you have access to me and my team 24 hours a day in the membership area and via email, and we answer all questions intensive care related. You also have exclusive access to 21 ebooks and 21 videos that I have personally written and recorded, sharing all my more than 2 decades worth of experience in intensive care with you, so that you can make informed decisions, have peace of mind, control, power, and influence, making sure your loved one gets best care and treatment. I also offer one-on-one consulting and advocacy over the phone, Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, whichever medium works best for you. I talk to you and your families directly. I talk to doctors and nurses directly, and I handhold you through this, what is a once-in-a-lifetime experience that you can't really afford to get wrong. And when I talk to doctors and nurses directly, I ask all the questions that you haven't even considered asking, but must be asked when you have a loved one in intensive care. I leave no stone unturned, all with the goal of you making informed decisions, having peace of mind, control, power, and influence. I also represent you in family meetings with intensive care teams, so that you have a strategy when you go into those meetings and you don't get walked all over. We also offer medical record reviews in real time, so that you can get a second opinion in real time. We also offer medical record reviews after intensive care if you have unanswered questions, if you need closure, or if you are suspecting medical negligence. And all of that you get at intensivecarehotline.com. Call us on one of the numbers on the top of our website, or send us an email to support@intensivecarehotline.com with your questions. If you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel for regular updates for families in intensive care. Click the like button, click the notification bell, share this video with your friends and families, and comment below what you want to see next, what questions and insights you have from this video. I also do a weekly YouTube live where I answer your questions live on a show, and you will get notified for the YouTube live if you are a subscriber to my YouTube channel, or if you're a subscriber to our email newsletter at intensivecarehotline.com. Sign up there. Thanks for watching. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com, and I will talk to you in a few days. Take care for now.